The Full Circle Podcast. Compelling interviews and incredible tales from Colorado's western slope, from the mountains to the desert. Christi, Reece, and her team hear from the movers, shakers, and characters of the Grand Valley and surrounding mountain towns that make the western slope the place we all love. You'll learn, you'll laugh, you'll love with The Full Circle. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Full Circle Podcast. I'm your host, Christi, Reece, and today I'm really honored to welcome our Mesa County Sheriff, Todd Rowell. Welcome, Todd.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. I always like to start with a little bit of personal info. So you're a Colorado native, right? You grew up not too far from here?
Yes, grew up in Paonia, Colorado.
And what was that like for you?
It was amazing. You know, I think when you grow up in a small town, I had 35 kids in my graduating class. You don't realize how small of a town it is when you're growing up there. That's all I knew. But great friends, great place to grow up, great family.
And Grand Junction was the big city at the time, right? We all of us on the western slope that grew up in these little towns, we would come here like, oh, it's so big.
Yes, I get to spend a couple weeks every summer down here. My grandma lived here.
Oh, okay.
People that grew up in the Clifton area, there used to be a water park out there.
Really?
I got to spend a lot of time at that water park. So big slides and everything. It always amazes me that we had that 30 years ago, 40 years ago.
Yeah, I had never heard that before. And you went into the Marines after high school, correct?
Yes, when I was 18, I joined the Marine Corps.
And so did you always have an interest in law enforcement and military as you were growing up? Did you know that's what you wanted to do?
No. So when I was really young, my dad was a cop in Montrose.
Okay.
And then when we moved to Paonia, when I was 1-2 years old, he was a cop there for a little while, and they got their own business. My brother, when he got out of the Navy, he's a few years older than I am, joined law enforcement. So when I got out of the Marine Corps, it was a little bit of a natural path. You know, you have an older brother and a dad that have gone to an academy and understand how the process works. Even getting out of the Marine Corps, that wasn't really the path I wanted to take. I went through Corrections Academy in Delta. Now I was looking at state corrections. Then I went through the police academy and realized being out on the road was more of my liking. So I was able to get on to the Mesa County Sheriff's Office.
Because you graduated at the top of your class from the police academy, correct?
Yes, I did.
Yeah, that's awesome. And you went straight from that to Mesa County Sheriff's Department?
Yes, there was a little break in between, but very short.
And what was your first role there?
So I was a patrol deputy. I haven't ever worked in our jail. I came on as a patrol deputy, and probably the best job in law enforcement. You're out with the community. You're meeting several people every day. Pretty high-paced area, so there's a lot of excitement. You make great friends with deputies, business owners. It was a great time in my career.
And the mission of your sheriff's department and any sheriff's department really is public safety, correct? I mean, that's the main thing. There's a lot of roles at the sheriff's department, but would you say that's the main focus?
Ever since I became sheriff, I've reminded the employees, our goal is to make Mesa County the safest place to live, work, and play. That's, you know, we're the only people that have the authority to arrest people that are committing crimes. We're able to do search warrants. We're able to go, you know, deal with things on like the North Desert you saw over the last couple of years, where we had a lot of trailers out there. We're the ones that worked with property owners, with the state, with the federal government, to try and eventually got all those campers off there. So
thank you.
I truly, I mean, it's always, and it's not all criminal all the time, but we have a huge role in making our community safe. From
a perspective of somebody going into that field, how do you deal with the safety issues for yourself? Because it can be a dangerous job.
I think, you know, I came out of the Marine Corps. I was in the Marine Corps Infantry, have a lot of firearms training. I was a firearms instructor. I think as long as you're prepared and you don't become lazy, there are dangers. There are always dangers. Most of the time, you're dealing with good people. And it's that transition of, I just dealt with somebody that's dangerous. Now I'm dealing with one of our normal residents. I don't need to be on this high alert.
Yeah.
I don't need to, be raising my voice. So I think all law enforcement recognizes the danger. If you've been in this business any amount of time, you've encountered something that you did not expect. Somebody fighting with you, running from you, a firearm that you didn't know that they had. So you train for it and you be on guard for it and you be prepared for it, but you can't let it completely consume you.
Yeah, I hadn't really thought about how you have to transition sometimes. I know my brother's a doctor in an emergency situation, and he deals with that same kind of thing, going from someone that's got a headache or a hurt finger to, life-threatening. And it's a real switch in your mindset.
It is, and I think the part that makes a good cop is they recognize that all of it's important. It's hard to go from a serious assault where you take it important and then somebody got something stolen from them. It's very important. Someone feels victimized and they were victimized, but to keep that same level of compassion on every single call, because nobody calls us on their best day. In fact, most people are calling us on their worst day of their life.
Yeah. Wow. That's really powerful. Well, so you started out as a patrol, and can you explain to our listeners and viewers the difference between the sheriff's office and the police office? One's county, one's city, right? But how do they work together, and how are they separate?
So, take for example the city of Grand Junction. It's all incorporated. If you're wondering if you're in the city or in the county, if you have a blue sign on your street, you're in the city.
We know that as realtors, but not everybody does.
a green sign is county. A lot of similarities. Mesa County, we have about 165, maybe 170,000 people living here. 75,000 of those people do not live in a city. So, which is different from a lot of counties. Most counties, you look at the unincorporated population, it's 4,000, 5,000, 6,000 at most, even counties our size. So you end up with the sheriff's office in those places mostly run the jail, civil, courthouse, and then they have a small rural area deputy program that deals with law enforcement out in the rural areas. So we have what's similar to a police department of patrol deputies, about 80 deputies that are out working the street. And we have rural area deputies that are working Colburn, up on the Mesa, Gateway, Glade Park, out in Loma. So those things are very similar to the police department. We work great with them. Chief Smith and I are great friends. I've been blessed during my time as sheriff to have him as the chief. You don't see any high-profile case in Mesa County where you don't see both of our cars parked there. Our deputies and police officers, they work so great together. It's
great to hear.
We're isolated a little bit here. We're the biggest county by population between the Denver area and the Salt Lake area. So we depend on each other a lot, and we're the two biggest agencies. So a couple things we do different than the police department is we do run the jail. The jail is anywhere from 350 people to up to 620 people, which is a big undertaking. By far the most liability. I like to call it our all-inclusive hotel because we have to provide medical care, food. It's a lot, and it's the hardest job in law enforcement. Our detention deputies. I said a little bit ago, the best job in law enforcement's a patrol deputy. Detention deputy,
hardest
by far
job.
the hardest. You're locked in the jail. You're with, one detention deputy will be watching 60 to 90 inmates by themselves. And most inmates aren't bad. They aren't real bad people. We have some that are, but most of them are at a crisis level in their lives.
Made some bad decisions.
Or come from circumstances that none of us have lived through. So that's one of the things we do is run the jail. We also provide security for the courthouse. I have 17 deputies right now that work in the courthouse. They also have to do what's called inmate transports. Everybody that gets sentenced to DOC or Department of Corrections, we have to take them over to Denver. We also have to go pick up anybody that has a warrant out of our county. And sometimes that's...
So is that a daily trip?
We go to Denver twice a week. Usually.
Twice a week, okay.
And then if someone gets picked up on a warrant in Florida, we have to go get them. If we have Hawaii, Alaska, we've made all those trips.
Wow.
So there's a big logistical and safety. You know, sometimes we transport them by plane. Sometimes we drive and go get them. We used to have an airplane. We don't have an airplane anymore.
So that Alaska and Hawaii trip.
Yeah. And
a little harder.
and then you also add on, so I'm also the fire marshal for the, in Colorado, the sheriff is the fire marshal for the county. So we're deeply involved in the wildfires.
So you've been busy.
Yes, very, very busy. We have firefighters, we have fire trucks. We have all of emergency management in the county. So there's a lot of statutory obligations to include search and rescue. Search and rescue, thank God for volunteers.
Yes,
our search and rescue.
Our search and rescue here is amazing.
But
it's under your purview.
Yes, yeah. They work independently. They do a lot of their training. They're an amazing group, but we have to be the liaison with them. We have to go with them. There has to be a law enforcement officer with them. They do a lot of amazing things, and if it goes wrong, that's on me. So we spend a lot of time making sure we keep great people on that team.
Yeah. Wow. So do you feel like your sheriff's department and all the different things that you do, are you fully staffed right now? Are you understaffed? Are you always needing more people?
I think any CEO of any company will tell you that they need more people.
Yeah.
We're about 17 people down. I know the county's in a tight budget crunch right now. I know that's why we haven't been hiring for a few months. We could always use more people. We're doing good. This community has always been so supportive of us in what we do. We're able to accomplish our mission. You can always use more people.
Yeah.
I'd like to fill the positions that I have. I don't know if that'll be possible going into next year. It's a tough state budget.
Right. We all have to work within our budgets. It's just the reality, right?
Yes. So we're sitting really good. We're not, I'm not going to start crying wolf and say we need more people and we're short.
But when you have a fire like we had here that takes an amazing amount of resources away from the city core, how does that affect the daily operations of the sheriff's department?
We have people that are willing to work overtime, and we have to backfill some positions. We have some proactive units that are working things like trailers in the desert, or might be working on some what I call flop houses in the community. We pull those off, those more proactive assignments, and they go assist up on the fire. We lose a lot of our management to those things because we tie in with the incident command. There's a lot of, if you don't do the fire process right, it'll end up costing the county a lot of money.
Yeah,
for example, last year up in Gateway, for a while, that fire was costing $1.4 million a day. But if you do everything right and work with the state, our county doesn't have to pick up all that. So,
well, let's keep our fingers crossed for a little rain in the next few days and no lightning, and no more fires, please. Yeah,
a lot of rain. We need a lot of rain.
We sure do. So. Boyd Glade Park is just dry as a bone up there. It's really hard to see. So you started at the sheriff's department and worked your way up, and in 2021 you became the sheriff.
Yes.
And that was a vote of the public, correct?
Not initially. So initially in 2021, Matt Lewis was the sheriff. He stepped down to another job. I was appointed
with corrections, right?
He first went out to community hospital. He did some work out in community hospital, and then he's worked his way back into the county, and I still get to work with him.
Oh, good.
But at that time, August 2021, I was appointed sheriff by the commissioners, and then I ran for office in 2022 and got elected.
Awesome. And let's talk about what are some of the challenges that you see facing Mesa County, and what has changed during your time at the sheriff's department. What, are we seeing an increase in certain kinds of crimes, or how have things changed?
So, and I'll go back to 2008. That's when Colorado Bureau of Investigation started keeping crime stats.
Really, just since 2008?
Yeah. So the FBI has kept crime stats longer, but the Colorado Bureau of Investigation, they go back to 2028 when they have a uniform crime report. And from then till now, property crimes, I think it's only been lower 1 year. In 2009, it was lower than it is now, but it went up and then it's come back way back down.
And are you talking about Colorado or Mesa County?
Mesa County.
Okay.
Colorado has seen some huge spikes across the state. It is coming down a little bit over the last 2 years, but auto theft went way up for the state. We didn't see that here. In fact, our auto theft's down.
That's nice.
Less than half of what it used to be.
Well, people are locking their doors now, right?
Yes.
Like, I remember we left our cars, 10, 12 years ago, we left our cars out in front of the house all night, unlocked,
Yes. And really the one crime that has gone up is fraud.
Not surprisingly.
With technology and everything, fraud happens differently than it did in 2004, 2005.
Yeah.
So
it's scary.
That is one thing, and it's the area we focused on the most in 2025, and it's the one area that went up on us.
But it's so hard to control and so hard to find some of these people, isn't it? I mean, so much of it is digital, and they know how to make themselves disappear.
And most of it isn't people in the United States. So most of the fraud that comes over phone or over text, it's not happening here in our community, but the victims are here in our community.
Yes, and some of them can lose just unbelievable amounts of money. And so do you have any education programs that you're running through the Sheriff's Department for people about fraud?
Yes, once a month, and I don't have the actual time. We have it on our website. We host a fraud prevention. We go over a lot of the current scams that are going on, what to do if somebody calls you telling you have one of the main ones is they tell you have a bench warrant for missing a federal
I got
jury
one of those
duty.
Calls.
Yes, and it's tough because you don't want to hang up on what you think is maybe law enforcement calling you, but we're not going to call you. Law enforcement's not going to call you and tell you have a warrant and then tell you to go get a gift card.
I know.
And it's tough, and people listen to it, and people fall
They get
victim
nervous.
to it. So anytime anything like that comes up, please call us. Call the sheriff's office and talk to us about it. Drive down to the sheriff's office, come in and talk to somebody.
Do you ever have sting operations where you're trying to catch some of these people in action? Like if somebody says, I'm supposed to meet this person with the gift cards in 30 minutes. And
yes, we've done them, been very unsuccessful.
Yeah.
Usually we had one where there was a meetup and the person didn't show. So we have tried. Typically there's not a meetup. It's taking cards and giving them numbers over the phone. So it's very, very difficult to catch them.
Yeah.
So we have worked on laws that limit amount of cryptocurrency that people can withdraw in one day. Just to where if someone's getting victimized, it's not quite as painful.
Yeah.
So
wow. And so we were talking about some crime stats. I mean, I would suspect that increase in population statewide and Mesa County brings new things, like you said, with property theft or things like that. So it's not just a Mesa County issue, but with increased population and new people moving in all the time, that tends to bump things up a little bit.
It does. You know, I've always taken the stance that we can affect, as a sheriff's office with partnerships with our community and other law enforcement partners, that we can keep our crime rates down. And really the mission we took on was, let's catch people the first time they commit a crime, not let them go on a crime spree. So we've implemented a lot of technology. We have what's called a real-time crime center, where we have access to a lot of cameras in our communities, and we try to catch people, and we're very, very good at it. You know, I think if you go back to 2002 when I was on patrol, if a convenience store got robbed, we would show up. The cashier would not have access to the videotape. We'd have to wait for a manager to come down. Sometimes that would be the next morning. Then you'd get a videotape, a VCR that had been recorded over several times.
Right. Really bad quality. Terrible
video. And now when we have somebody commit a crime, we have people sitting at cameras or sitting at monitors and feeding information to the deputies responding. And a lot of times we know who it is before deputies are even on scene, where the car's going. It's just I know there's a lot of talk about privacy, and I know if we ever misuse it, we'll lose that ability to do it. So we have a lot of checks and balances on it. It's for criminal activity. You know, I think people expect us to catch people when they commit crimes, and it's an amazing tool in our community.
Right. Well, lots of people have cameras now, and it's because they want to be able to capture that information if something goes wrong, right? And they expect the same of the sheriff's department.
Yes, and a lot of our crime is solved not off our cameras, but off other people's cameras that they're willing to share with us.
Yeah, amazing. What are some of the other projects that you are hoping to implement during your tenure as sheriff?
So I have less than 6 months left.
What?
As sheriff, and you know, so some of the things that I've been a part of implementing, one was our transitions program. So one of the things that used to really frustrate me when we had 500 to 600 inmates in our jail is you would see somebody walk out to the curb. They just got out of our jail. They have their belongings, and they're sitting there on the curb, and they're calling people. They can't get a hold of anybody, so they end up just walking down the street. And I always picture my own life, like, if I ended up going to jail for 3 weeks, what do you have when you get out? You know, for most of us, we don't have our job anymore. If we victimized our family or accused of victimizing our family, you might not have your family anymore. What are the chances of that person being successful? So we implemented a transition program where people that are leaving our jail, we have some resources for them. We're hooking them up with outside resources and giving them a shot.
That's great.
To be successful. Some of that can be as simple as having DMV come down. They come down to our office and getting them an ID. It's a big hang up on a lot of them getting jobs. They don't have an ID or a driver's license. So that has been largely successful. I think if people get out and they don't have any hope and they go commit another crime,
they're going to come right back in.
It's a huge waste of resources. So if we can make them, or at least give them an opportunity to be successful, because when they're in the jail, they're a captive audience. Most of them are very well behaved. You know, they have some structure. They have 3 meals a day. And like I said, very few of them are real bad people. They're not. They have very poor circumstances. Maybe some mental health issues. Maybe something of that sort that landed them in jail. If we can just get them some type of help, and that's different for each person. Sometimes they just need a case manager that calls them once a week, sees how they're doing. Other people need help with meds. So that's something we've done. I think it's a large reason that instead of having 620 inmates, we had 375 this morning.
That's great to hear, Todd. Really wonderful job.
Thank you.
Yeah. So you were honored to become the president of the Colorado County Sheriff's Association, correct?
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about that and what your role is like there.
So shortly after I became sheriff, I got on the board. So this is all 64 county sheriffs in Colorado. I got on the board shortly after I became sheriff just to get involved. I want to be involved in legislation. Sometimes I don't feel like our voice on this side of the state is heard very well. And I slowly just worked my way through and did the secretary work. I did the treasurer, first vice chair, and this January I became the president of the association. So a huge honor. I was super proud that I got to do that. Great group of people. You know, I don't know if people understand what it's like being a sheriff, but now I have a group of these sheriffs.
63 friends.
Yes, that you can call,
Yeah.
that truly want to help, that know what it's like to be really lonely at the top, and some of the big decisions we make that usually are not popular decisions. So, and we do a lot of work with legislation. You know, the sheriffs in Colorado have a lot of authority, you know, and are involved in a lot of things, just statutorily how it's created. So we're able to move the needle on things in Colorado, and it's a great group to be a part of. And, you know, a lot of the stuff we do revolves around training law enforcement. Colorado, our laws change every year.
Yes, they do, don't they?
And they don't get easier on law enforcement. They make the job more difficult, but they do also make the job more professional. So, you know, I think, for example, body-worn cameras. You know, we got body-worn cameras a couple of years ago, and most cops tell you they love them. In fact, I don't know a cop that would work without them anymore. But there is a huge training curve on everything you do is now recorded. And
every word.
Yes.
Yes. And in some heightened situations, like it's a really difficult job. I'm just thankful to all of our service members in that way. So then 6 months from now, retirement?
Yes.
Yes.
I'm going to retire and play tennis now.
You're a good tennis player. I know that. You had 2 kids, 2 boys in the Mesa County schools, and they're both graduated now?
Yes. Yeah. So 2 boys that went through FUTA, both of them got to be quarterbacks for the football team. I'm super proud of both them. One's just getting ready to start college at CMU. The other one is starting his last year at the nursing program. Get to be here in the same community. They didn't go away. So way proud of them. You know, what comes in 6 months for me, I'll be honest, I don't know. I do know, I've done my fair share of law enforcement, government work. I'm going to move on and do some things that I really, really want to do. I think when you join the Marine Corps or any military service, when you're 18 years old and then you quickly transition into law enforcement, I felt like I've done what was expected at me and what honestly I was good at. And I want to take a little bit of time and say, what do I want to do? What does my wife want to do with our time? And super excited about that. You know, we've been involved in real estate investing the entire time I've been in law enforcement in our 23 years of marriage. So probably do a lot more of that. So, and
a little traveling.
Yes, a lot of traveling.
A lot of traveling.
Yes.
Yeah, so. Awesome. Well, I want to thank you for your service, first of all, and it's a big job, and I'm sure you've felt a lot of weight at different times, but I think you've done a great job from my perspective, and a lot of people in the community really appreciate your level-headedness and just the consistency that you provide there.
Thank you. I've been truly blessed. If you're going to be in law enforcement, Mesa County is the place to be at. I've always felt so much support, no matter how much politics is going on, or if there's a little bit of a turn nationally against law enforcement. I've never felt that here. I've always felt like there's great partners in the community, and I've lived through losing Derek Gear, lived through George Floyd and what that brought to a lot of communities. And I think our communities always expected a lot out of us. And we've always known that if we ever lose their trust, our job gets really, really hard.
It's harder, yeah.
So super, super blessed to do it.
That's awesome. So there'll be an election coming up, and do we know who's running for sheriff?
Yeah, so a lieutenant in the office, Ross Young, great guy, great character. He's going to do great. He's the only one
willing to take on the job.
He stepped up. It has to be a person that steps up and wants to do it. That their family wants to do it, because it does take a whole family.
Yes.
I think if you ask my wife if it impacted our family, I promise you she'd say yes.
Yes, I'm sure. As many careers do, but yours probably doubly so. Yeah.
Yes, and it's an amazing organization. They're going to do great without me as well.
So for our listeners and our viewers, if they want to contact Mesa County Sheriff's Department because they want to learn about the fraud classes or any other educational programs going on, are there any volunteer opportunities other than search and rescue with the Sheriff's Department? Yes,
we have a lot of volunteers at the Sheriff's Office. So one of our programs is called our Citizens on Patrol. Great group of people. They do so much for us. You'll see them on roadblocks, even the fire. You saw a lot of our Citizens on Patrol helping out with some of the roadblocks on that. They do a lot of our special events, vent inspections, and they have their own cars, and they're out in the community. That's one of our major volunteer groups. We also have religious volunteers in our jail. We have volunteers in our records department, and we also have a cadet program where if someone wants to be in law enforcement, I'm not 100% positive what the age limits are right now. They've moved a couple times, but there is that opportunity to kind of get some exposure to law enforcement.
And so how you have a website, and that's where people would go to find out about these opportunities?
Yes.
Okay. And if someone having a crisis, is 911 always the answer? First choice?
So if it's happening right now, call 911. If not, for the Sheriff's Office, call 970-242-6707. You're getting the same people. It's just a non-emergent number.
Okay.
Dispatch would prefer that, and I would prefer that if it's something you just have a question, no emergency happen now, call the non-emergency line.
Right.
But if something's happening or there's emergency, somebody's hurt, just call 911.
Okay. It'll get to the right place.
Yes.
Okay, the right agency. Well, Todd, we really appreciate you being here today, and I wish you the best of luck. I hope I get to play tennis with you more.
Yes.
And your wife, I love playing tennis with her. She's so good. And I wish you and your family the best, and enjoy your retirement.
Thank you so much.
And thank you for your service to Mesa County.
Oh,
truly.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me on. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. All right. This has been the Full Circle Podcast. I'm Christi Reece, and our guest has been our Sheriff, Todd Rowell. Thanks again, Todd. And we'll see you next time on the Full Circle. Bye. Thanks for listening. This is Christi Reece signing out from the Full Circle Podcast.